Bring us some water. Would you? The servant's here. That's what my son said. To his boss. While sitting in my living room. My villa. My table. My son. Kevin. Pointing at me like I was staff. I froze for half a second. Then I laughed. Not the happy kind, the kind that makes people nervous. Servant? I repeated. That's what I am now. Kevin grinned nervously. Mom. Relax. It's a joke. His boss chuckled, swirling his whiskey. Don't take it personal, Mrs. Carter. He's just trying to impress me. I set the tray down hard enough to rattle the glasses. Impress you by degrading me? In my house. Kevin's smile cracked. Mom. Please. Don't make a scene. A scene? I stepped closer. Eyes locked on him. You just made one. And it ends right now. Before they could react. I snatched the whiskey glasses. Walked to the door. And swung it open. Out. I said. Both of you. Kevin jumped up. Mom. You can't. I can. And I just did. The boss frowned. Muttered something under his breath. And walked out like he'd stepped in mud. Kevin lingered. Pleading. Mom. This could have been important for my career. I shoved the glass tray into his chest. Then build your career somewhere else. Not in my home. Not at my expense. And I slammed the door in his face. If you're watching this, don't forget to hit subscribe and tell me where you're from. Because trust me, this is just the beginning. I'm a mother. And this is my story. I thought slamming the door would be the end of it. Turns out, it was only the beginning. Because the next morning, my phone started buzzing. Over and over. Neighbors. Old friends. Even Jessica. My daughter. Who usually couldn't care less. Mom. She said the second I answered. What did you do last night? What do you mean? What did I do? I snapped. I kicked Kevin and his boss out of my house. That's what I did. She groaned. You didn't just kick them out. Someone filmed it. Filmed what? The whole thing. You yelling. The tray. The door slam, everything. It's on Facebook already. Oh my God, it's going viral. I nearly dropped the phone. What? She sighed. People are sharing it. There's a caption entitled Mom humiliates her hardworking son in front of his boss. I laughed. Entitled? In my own house? Yes. Mom. That's what it looks like. Everyone thinks you embarrassed him on purpose. Good. I said coldly. I meant to. She groaned louder. Mom. This isn't funny. People at Kevin's office saw it. They're saying you ruined his career. I leaned back in my chair. He called me a servant in my own house. Jessica. Servant. And I'm supposed to smile and pour drinks? Mom, she whispered. You just don't get it. Click. She hung up. By noon. I saw it myself. The video. Someone at the dinner table had filmed the whole thing. From the moment Kevin snapped his fingers. To me slamming the door in his face. 10,000 views. Then 20. By the end of the day, 50,000. And the comments. What kind of mother humiliates her son like this? Poor guy. Imagine your mom ruining your chance with the boss. Old people these days. No respect. I wanted to throw up. The doorbell rang. It was my neighbor. Mrs. Green. She stood there holding her phone like it was evidence. Margaret. She said carefully. I saw the video. Are you okay? Do I look not okay? I snapped. She shifted uncomfortably. Well, people are talking. They say you've been unstable lately. I stared at her. Unstable? I'm the one who bought this villa. I'm the one who pays the bills. And my son called me a servant in front of his boss. That's unstable? She bit her lip. I'm just telling you what folks are saying. I slammed the door in her face too. That night, Kevin called. His voice was sharp, cold. Mom, do you have any idea what you've done? Yes, I said. I showed your boss that I don't take disrespect in my own house. He laughed bitterly. You humiliated me in front of him. In front of everyone. Do you think he'll ever see me as professional after that? You humiliated yourself. I shot back. I didn't put those words in your mouth. Mom. He hissed. That video is everywhere. People at work are laughing. My boss told me today. If you can't control your own family, how can you manage a team? You cost me everything. I leaned forward, gripping the phone. No, Kevin. You cost yourself. Don't blame me for your bad manners. He was silent for a moment. Then he spat the words, "You're pathetic," and hung up. The next day, things got worse. I walked into the grocery store, and two women in the produce aisle stared at me, whispering. One pulled out her phone, as if comparing my face to the video. I clenched my fists, kept walking. At the checkout, the cashier, barely 20, smirked. Hey, aren't you the crazy mom from Facebook? I froze. Excuse me? She shrugged. The video. You're famous. Guess you really showed your son. Huh? I stared at her. Bag my groceries. Now. She rolled her eyes but obeyed. When I got home, there was another call waiting. This time, from Jessica again. Mom, she said quickly. Kevin wants you to apologize. Apologize? To who? To his boss. To him. To everyone. Really? I laughed so hard I nearly dropped the phone. Apologize for what? For being treated like staff in my own house? Mom, she whispered. You don't get it. If you don't apologize, this won't go away. I leaned back, smiling coldly. Then let it stay. Let the whole world see what happens when you call me a servant. She groaned. Mom, you're impossible. Good. I said. Stay out of my way. Click. But here's the thing. The video wasn't just humiliation. It was fuel. Because the more I watched it, the more I realized something. Everyone saw me slam the door. But nobody saw what came before. Nobody saw the way Kevin snapped his fingers. Nobody heard the way he said servant. Nobody caught the sneer on his boss's face. They saw my reaction, not the insult. And that meant one thing. If I wanted to flip the script, I'd have to play their game. Use their tools. Social media. Gossip. Rumors. Evidence. They wanted to humiliate me? Fine. I'd show them humiliation. Not just in my neighborhood. Not just in Kevin's office. Everywhere. The phone buzzed again that evening. A text from Kevin. We need to talk. Come tomorrow. Bring your will paperwork. I stared at the screen, my blood boiling. So that's what this was about. Not the video. Not the boss. Not even respect. Money. Always money. I typed back 2 words, we'll see. And I smiled. Because if Kevin wanted to drag me through the mud, he was about to find out. I know how to bury people deeper. The clip didn't just go viral. It exploded. By day 3, my face was on every feed. Every platform. Every comment section. Not because I asked for it. Because Kevin's buddy had uploaded the video to TikTok with one perfect caption. When your mom ruins your promotion dinner. 10 seconds. That's all it was. Me slamming a tray. Yelling. Out. And Kevin. Looking like a poor victim. 10 million views. I couldn't breathe when I saw the number. Then came the reaction videos. One guy with a backwards cap, "This mom is savage." But like, why ruin your son's career? A girl with pink hair, "This is why boomers shouldn't drink wine." Imagine disrespecting your own kid like that. Even comedians jumped on it, splicing my voice over cat videos. Over reality show clips. I wasn't a mother anymore. I was a meme. The phone rang nonstop. Reporters. Bloggers. Even a late-night show emailed me. But what hurt most weren't the strangers. It was the people I knew. Mrs. Green, my neighbor, posted on Facebook, "So sad to see Margaret losing it. Always thought she was classy. Guess not." The church group chat lit up, "Pray for her family. Clearly she needs help." And then donors to my little community foundation started pulling out. One wrote, "We can't be associated with unstable behavior." Unstable. That word again. Kevin called on the fourth night. His voice was smug now. "Mom," he said, "see what you've done? You've embarrassed yourself. And me. The whole internet thinks you're crazy." I gripped the phone. The whole internet thinks what you let them think. They didn't see you call me a servant. He laughed. Even if they did, they wouldn't care. You're the villain now. That's how narratives work. You did this. I hissed. Correction. He said smoothly. You did this. You threw us out. You made the scene. You handed me a promotion gift I never expected, sympathy. My blood ran cold. You planned this. Not exactly. He admitted. But it worked out perfectly. Didn't it? I wanted to scream. Instead, I hung up. The next day, I went to the grocery store again. 2 teenage girls followed me down the aisle, filming on their phones. One whispered, "That's her. The crazy lady from TikTok." I turned, stared straight into their lenses. "Do you want a picture?" I snapped. They giggled and ran. At checkout, the cashier didn't even look me in the eye. Just muttered, "Wow, you're famous." I wanted to disappear. That night, I sat in the dark, scrolling through the comments. Thousands of strangers judging me, mocking me, dissecting my life. Entitled old woman. She ruined her son's career for attention. Imagine being her kid. I'd disown her too. My hand shook. But then, in the middle of the noise, I saw one comment that stopped me cold. "Where's the full video? Something feels off. No way a mom flips like that for no reason." Full video. That's when it hit me. They hadn't seen the beginning. No one had seen Kevin snap his fingers. No one had heard the word servant. If I wanted the truth out, I had to do it myself. The next morning, I set up my phone on the kitchen table, pressed record, sat down. "Hi," I said, voice steady. "You've seen the 10 seconds. Let me tell you what happened in the 10 minutes before that." I told them everything. How Kevin invited his boss without asking me. How they sat at my table, laughing, drinking. How he pointed at me and said, "The servant's here." I looked straight into the lens. I'm not a servant in my own home. I'm a mother. And if you don't like the way I reacted, that's your problem. But that's the truth. I hit upload. Within hours, my video blew up. 2 million views. Then 5. The comments shifted. "Wait, he called her a servant? That changes everything. Why wasn't that part in the clip?" Respect to her for standing up for herself. But not everyone believed me. Convenient story. No proof. Still crazy. The line was drawn. Half the internet defending me, half still mocking me. And right in the middle of it, Kevin posted his own video. "Look," he said smoothly, standing in his fancy suit. "My mom's unwell. She's spinning stories. I love her. But sometimes she doesn't remember things right. Please respect our family's privacy. Crocodile tears. A perfect performance. And the comments loved him. Such a good son. Protect this man at all costs. I wanted to throw my phone across the room. But I didn't. Because I realized something, this wasn't just humiliation anymore. This was war. And if Kevin wanted a war fought on screens and sound bites, I was ready. It started with phone calls. Reporters. Bloggers. Local radio. Mrs. Carter. Can we get a comment? Margaret. We'd love to hear your side of the story live. Would you be willing to appear on Channel 7 tonight? I hung up on all of them. At first. But then Channel 7 showed up at my gate anyway. Cameras. Microphones. Neighbors watching from their porches. Kevin wasn't home. Thank God. He was at work. Probably milking the sympathy tour. That left me. Standing in the driveway. Blindsided. The reporter smiled like a shark. Mrs. Carter. Do you regret throwing your son out of your house? I froze. Regret? That word burned. No. I said. Clear and sharp. Not for 1 second. That night. My phone exploded again. Mom. Jessica hissed. What are you doing? Do you know how bad you looked on TV? I told the truth. I snapped. She groaned. You looked like you were bragging about humiliating him. Good. I said coldly. Because I was. She gasped. Do you even care what this is doing to us? Jessica. I said softly. The world doesn't revolve around you. Or Kevin. It never did. Click. She hung up. The next day. It went national. Good Morning America. CNN. Even late-night comedy shows. Everyone was talking about the servant mom. Clips of me slamming the tray. Clips of Kevin's smooth statement about his unstable mother. Clips of me saying I don't regret it. Then came the split-screen debates. On one side, she's toxic. She destroyed her son's career. On the other, he called his mom a servant. Who does that? It wasn't just gossip anymore. It was a cultural war. Then Channel 9 called. A live studio interview. At first, I said no. But something inside me shifted. If Kevin could sit in front of cameras and play the victim, so could I. So I said yes. The studio was freezing. Bright lights. Makeup people dabbing powder on my face. Just answer honestly. The producer whispered. And keep it short. Then the red light blinked on. The host smiled at the camera. We're here tonight with Margaret Carter, the woman at the center of the viral servant mom video. Mrs. Carter. Thank you for joining us. I forced a smile. Thank you for having me. He leaned forward. Let's get right to it. Do you regret calling your son out in front of his boss? No. I said. Because I didn't call him out. I defended myself. In my house. He called me a servant. I'm not a servant. I'm his mother. The host raised his eyebrows. But critics say you ruined his chance at a promotion. I laughed. Critics weren't in the room. They didn't hear the word. They only saw the clip. He pressed harder. Your son says you're unstable. That you invent things. How do you respond? I stared straight at the camera. If defending myself makes me unstable, then so be it. I'd rather be unstable than silent. The studio went quiet. The host cleared his throat. Strong words. And what about your family foundation? Some donors have backed out. That's their choice. I said firmly. But let me be clear, my money, my house, my life, none of it belongs to Kevin or his boss. And if they thought otherwise, they're in for a rude awakening. The segment ended. The cameras cut. The producer whispered. That was fire. The backlash came within hours. Online, she's unhinged. She's iconic. She's lying. She's brave. The internet was split down the middle. But one thing was clear, I was no longer a silent meme. I was a voice. Kevin called that night, screaming into the phone. Mom, do you want to destroy me? Do you want me fired? You did that yourself. I said calmly. You think people are on your side? They're not. They see a crazy old woman clinging to attention. Better that. I said. Than a grown man who hides behind his boss. He went silent. Then, in a low voice, you'll regret this. Click. He hung up. 2 days later, his boss went public. A glossy interview in the business section. Title: CEO defends rising star from family drama. The boss smirked in his photo. Expensive suit gleaming. His quote: Kevin is one of the most dedicated young men I've ever met. It's unfortunate when personal matters are twisted online. I stand behind him. Dedicated young man. Stand behind him. The PR machine was working overtime. But the comments under the article? Different story. Dedicated? He let his mom serve drinks like a maid. Stand behind him? More like sit in her villa and drink her whiskey. Funny how the boss is suddenly a family therapist. The tide was shifting. Slowly. That weekend, I couldn't leave the house without cameras in my face. At the gas station, Mrs. Carter. Do you feel betrayed by your son? Outside the grocery store, are you planning to reconcile? Even at church, reporters waiting by the steps. Finally, one young journalist shoved a mic under my chin. Mrs. Carter. What's your message to the people who say you ruined your son's future? I stopped. Looked right at her camera. My message? I said softly. Then louder. For the world. He ruined his own future the second he called his mother a servant. That's all there is to it. The clip aired that night. By morning, it was everywhere. The hashtags flipped. Hashtag servant mom turned into hashtag served him right. Hashtag team Kevin battled hashtag team Margaret. And for the first time since this nightmare began, I felt the balance tip. Not in my favor completely. Not yet. But enough to know one thing. This wasn't over. Not by a long shot. It started with one tweet. A girl from Kevin's office posted, "Funny how our dedicated rising star let his mom serve us drinks like staff. Wonder what else he hides." Boom. 10,000 likes in an hour. Then someone else dug up old photos. Kevin at parties. Drunk. Laughing with the same boss who'd called me dramatic. Captions appeared, "This your future leader?" By noon, Kevin's company inbox was flooded. People tagging HR. Demanding statements. Cancel culture doesn't knock. It kicks the door down. Jessica called me in a panic. Mom, do you see what's happening? Kevin's trending, for the wrong reasons. I smirked. Oh, now he's the one embarrassed? She groaned. This isn't funny. People are saying the company should suspend him. His boss is furious. Good. I said. Maybe he'll finally learn actions have consequences. Mom. She begged. Can't you just make a statement? Say you overreacted? No. I said flatly. Because I didn't. Click. She hung up. That evening, I turned on the news. The anchor's voice was sharp. The viral servant mom story takes a new turn as allegations surface against Kevin Carter. The so-called victim. Former colleagues describe him as arrogant and dismissive, often joking about his mother's wealth. My jaw dropped. They weren't just defending me now. They were attacking him. The camera cut to a college friend. Speaking into a mic, yeah. Kevin always bragged about his mom's villa. Called it his future inheritance. Guess he forgot who earned it. I laughed out loud. Finally. The next day, I went outside to grab the paper. A neighbor waved from across the street. "Margaret!" she shouted. "We saw the news. Good for you. Don't let him push you around." I smiled, lifted the paper in salute. For once, it wasn't shame burning on my cheeks. It was pride. Kevin showed up that night. No cameras. No boss. Just him. He barged in without knocking. Face pale. "Mom, you have to stop this." I raised an eyebrow. "Stop what?" "This circus. The interviews. The comments. It's destroying me." I leaned back in my chair. "Welcome to my world. That video destroyed me first." He clenched his fists. "It's different. I have a career." I snapped. "And I had a name. A reputation. A life. You didn't care when the internet called me crazy. Why should I care now?" He was silent. For the first time. Truly silent. Then I said, "Low and cold, you called me a servant. Now the world calls you spoiled. That's not my fault. That's balance. And balance," I realized, was only just beginning. Because cancel culture doesn't forgive. It doesn't forget. And this time, it wasn't me in the crosshairs. It was him. It happened on a Sunday morning. I was making coffee when my phone started buzzing nonstop. Texts. Pings. Notifications piling on top of each other. At first, I thought Kevin had finally been fired. But then I opened Twitter. Trending, full servant mom video. My heart stopped. Someone, no one knew who, had uploaded the full 20-minute recording from that night. Not the chopped 10-second clip. The whole thing. And there it was. Crystal clear. Kevin. Laughing with his boss. Kevin snapping his fingers at me. Kevin's exact words, "Bring us some water. The servant's here." Then me. Frozen. Tray in hand. Then me slamming it down and throwing them out. The truth. The internet exploded. OMG. She was telling the truth the whole time. That poor woman. He called his own mom a servant? Cancel Kevin for real. This is disgusting. Within hours, the hashtags flipped again. Hashtag servant mom vanished. Hashtag servant son trended worldwide. Reporters rushed to my gate again. Cameras flashing. Microphones everywhere. "Mrs. Carter, how do you feel now that the full video is out? Do you think your son owes you an apology? Would you forgive him if he apologized?" I looked at them calmly. I feel the same as I did before. Disrespected. But not surprised. They pushed harder. "What about Kevin's reputation? Do you think he deserves another chance?" I leaned into the mic. He should have thought about that before he called me a servant. The clip aired on every channel by nightfall. My face. My voice. My truth. Kevin called again. Desperate this time. "Mom. Please." He begged. "Talk to them. Tell people I didn't mean it. You meant every word." I said coldly. "And now the world knows." "It was a joke," he cried. I was nervous. Trying to impress my boss. "You impressed him," I said. "You impressed the whole internet. Just not the way you wanted." Silence. Then a choked whisper, "You're enjoying this." I didn't answer. Because maybe I was. By Monday, his company announced an internal review. His boss released a statement saying he was disappointed in Kevin's poor judgment. Disappointed. That word stung worse than fired. It meant Kevin was toxic. Untouchable. Meanwhile, my inbox overflowed. Strangers thanking me. Women saying, "You stood up for yourself when we couldn't." I wasn't a meme anymore. I was a symbol. That evening, a journalist asked me, "Mrs. Carter, do you feel vindicated now that the truth is out?" I smiled. Slow. Cold. Vindicated? I said. No. I feel patient. Because the truth always comes out. You just have to wait long enough. The clip cut there. 1,000,000 shares. And for the first time, Kevin was the one hiding behind closed doors. Not me. By Tuesday morning, Kevin's face was everywhere. Not in glossy articles calling him a rising star. Not in company newsletters praising his dedication. No. Now his face was splashed across tabloids, reaction videos, even late-night monologues. Jimmy Kimmel laughed into the camera. Imagine calling your mom a servant at her own house. Kevin. Buddy. You're grounded. The audience roared. Kevin wasn't a rising star anymore. He was a punchline. At the office, things got worse. A leaked email thread surfaced on Reddit, employees joking about #ServantSon. HR asking if Kevin was safe to keep on staff. One colleague posted on LinkedIn, leadership is about respect. If you can't respect your own mother, how can you respect your team? The post went viral. And Kevin's boss? Silent. Not a word this time. Which was louder than anything else. I sat on my porch, coffee in hand, watching the world burn my son alive. Jessica showed up in tears. Mom, you have to help him. She pleaded. He can't even go to work. People are calling him names in the street. Strangers are DMing him death threats. I raised an eyebrow. Funny. That's exactly what I got when the first clip went out. And none of you cared then. She shook her head. This is different. No. Jessica. I said calmly. It's the same. Karma just has a faster Wi-Fi connection than it used to. She stared at me. Horrified. You're enjoying this. I sipped my coffee. I'm not enjoying it. I'm just not crying about it. Later that day, Mrs. Green knocked on my door again. Margaret. She whispered, glancing around like the street had ears. I just wanted to say, I support you. Kevin was awful to you. Everyone sees it now. I smiled thinly. Oh, now you support me? Weren't you the one posting about me being unstable last week? Her face went red. I didn't know the full story. Exactly. I said. You believed the cut clip. Now you've seen the whole thing. She nodded quickly. Retreating. Hypocrites everywhere. That evening, reporters camped outside Kevin's apartment. Kevin. Do you have a comment? Kevin. Do you regret your words? Kevin. Will you apologize to your mother? He shoved past them. Hoodie pulled low. No comment. But cameras caught his pale face. His shaking hands. The caption under the photo? From golden boy to servant son. I laughed out loud when I saw it. Emily called me that night. Her voice trembling. Mom, people are tearing Kevin apart. He won't eat. He won't sleep. Please. Can't you just make one statement to calm things down? Why should I? I asked. Because you're his mother. She whispered. I went quiet for a long time. Then I said. He should have remembered I was his mother before he called me a servant. And I hung up. By the weekend, Kevin's company announced he was on indefinite leave. His boss quietly scrubbed photos of Kevin from the corporate website. Friends unfollowed him. His phone stopped ringing. And mine? Mine rang off the hook. Producers. Journalists. Women who wanted to interview me about respect in the family. I wasn't just a meme anymore. I was a headline. A case study. A cultural talking point. Kevin was the villain. I was the symbol. And for the first time in a long, long time, I felt something warm spread through me. Not pity. Not regret. Power. The invitation came in a thick white envelope. Embossed letters. A plane ticket inside. The Ellen Show. Not a local station. Not a blog interview. National television. Millions of viewers. I sat at my kitchen table, holding that ticket like it was a crown. My phone buzzed. Jessica again. Mom. Please don't do it. If you go on TV, Kevin's done. He'll never recover. I smiled. He already won't recover. This is just the funeral. She gasped. Mom. Click. I hung up. The studio was colder than I imagined. Makeup artists brushed powder across my cheeks. A stage manager clipped a mic to my blouse. Just be yourself, he said. Speak from the heart. I almost laughed. My heart had gone cold weeks ago. Then the host swept onto the stage. Audience screaming. Lights blinding. Ladies and gentlemen. She boomed. You've seen the viral video. You've debated it online. Tonight. The woman at the center of it all. Please welcome Margaret Carter. The crowd roared. I walked out steady. Head high. Every camera locked on me. The host leaned forward. Smiling. Margaret. Thank you for being here. How does it feel to go viral like this? I shrugged. I didn't go viral. My son did. I just happened to be in the room. Laughter rippled through the audience. She chuckled. Now, in the original clip, people thought you overreacted. But the full video changed things. How do you feel now that everyone's seen the truth? I looked straight into the camera. I feel exactly the same. Because the truth was always the same. The internet just caught up. The crowd clapped. Whistles echoing. The host pressed harder. Kevin says it was a joke. Do you believe that? I leaned forward. Voice low but sharp. If you have to humiliate your mother to impress your boss. That's not a joke. That's a confession. Gasps from the crowd. Applause. The host raised her eyebrows. And what about forgiveness? Do you see a path to reconciliation? I paused. Let the silence stretch. Then smiled cold. Forgiveness, I said, is for mistakes. This wasn't a mistake. It was a choice. And choices have consequences. The audience erupted, cheers. Whistles. Clapping like thunder. Backstage after the show. Producers shook my hand. That was powerful. One said. You're going to trend again. Just wait. He was right. By midnight, the hashtags lit up like fireworks. Hashtag #ServantSon at #1. Hashtag Queen Margaret right behind it. Clips of me saying that's not a joke. That's a confession played everywhere. TikTok. Twitter. Instagram Reels. Reaction videos praising me. Dubbing meth mother who refused to bow. And Kevin? Silent. Invisible. A ghost hiding in his own city. The next morning, a reporter caught me outside my villa. Mrs. Carter. She shouted. What would you say to your son if he's watching this right now? I didn't hesitate. I looked straight into the lens. I'd say this, when you call your mother a servant. Don't be surprised when the world treats you like one. The clip aired. The internet roared. And just like that, the throne was mine. Kevin disappeared from the internet first. No Instagram posts. No tweets. No LinkedIn updates. But silence doesn't erase. It amplifies. People started posting screenshots of his old captions, "Can't wait to inherit the villa one day." They turned them into memes. Side by side with my quote from the talk show, "If you call your mother a servant, don't be surprised when the world treats you like one." The contrast was brutal. Viral. Inescapable. Jessica came storming into my villa one night. Her face red with fury. "Are you happy now?" she shouted. Kevin hasn't left his apartment in a week. People are harassing him non-stop. I folded my arms. So? He's your son. He stopped being my son the moment he called me a servant. She gaped at me, speechless. I leaned closer. Do you know what isolation feels like, Jessica? I do. I felt it when my neighbors whispered I was crazy, when donors pulled away, when strangers mocked me in grocery aisles. Kevin watched all that. And he laughed. So don't talk to me about isolation. She opened her mouth, then closed it. She left without another word. 2 days later, Kevin's company made it official. A press release: "We have parted ways with Kevin Carter effective immediately. No thank you. No best wishes. Just gone." His boss gave a separate interview. Carefully worded: "Leadership requires integrity at home and at work. We stand against all forms of disrespect." That was it. The final nail. Neighbors stopped asking me awkward questions. Instead, they smiled, nodded, even congratulated me. "Good for you, Margaret," one said. About time someone stood up to him. "Iconic," another whispered, almost starstruck. Funny how quickly they switched sides. One week I was unstable. The next, untouchable. Meanwhile, Kevin's so-called friends started talking. On Reddit, he always treated waiters like trash. On TikTok, story time about the time Kevin ditched his own mom at church. On Instagram, photos of parties with captions like "Glad this clown isn't around anymore." It was like the internet had been waiting for permission to hate him. And now they had it. Emily called, voice shaking. "Mom, he's alone. Nobody calls him back. Even his best friend blocked him." "Good," I said. She gasped. "You can't mean that." "I mean every word. He wanted me alone. Now he gets to taste it." There was silence. Then a whisper: "You've changed." "No," I said. "I've just stopped forgiving." That weekend, I went for a walk downtown. A stranger stopped me, phone in hand. "Are you Margaret Carter?" "Yes." He grinned. "Can I get a picture? You're a legend." "A legend." "Me." I posed, smiled faintly, let him take the photo. And as I walked away, I realized something chilling. Kevin wasn't just isolated. He was erased. And I was everywhere. The invitation came from a women's leadership conference downtown. "Would you share your story?" the organizer asked over the phone. I said yes. Not for them. Not for the applause. For me. For the final cut. The ballroom was packed. Hundreds of women in sharp suits. Students scribbling in notebooks. Cameras rolling at the back of the room. I walked onto the stage. No music. No drama. Just silence. Then, applause. Long. Heavy. The moderator smiled. "Margaret Carter. Thank you for being here. The world knows your story. Tonight. They want to hear it from you." I nodded. "Then let's tell it." I kept it short. Sharp. My son invited his boss into my home. He called me a servant. The world saw me throw them out. But the world didn't see the 30 years before that, 30 years of me cooking, cleaning, paying, raising, giving. And in one sentence, he erased it all. The room went quiet. Not a cough. Not a shuffle. I leaned into the mic. So I did the only thing I could. I reminded him whose house he was standing in. Applause thundered. People rose to their feet. Then came the question I knew would come. A young journalist in the crowd raised her hand. "Mrs. Carter, if Kevin were here tonight, what would you say to him?" The room held its breath. I didn't pause. Didn't blink. I looked straight into the camera, the red light glowing at the back. And I said, slow and cold, "In my house, I am not the servant. And in his life, I am no longer the mother. The room erupted. Applause. Gasps. Cheers. I set the mic down on the podium, walked off stage, never looked back. Outside, the night air was sharp and clean. Reporters shoved microphones at me. Mrs. Carter, do you really mean that? Are you cutting him off forever? I smiled faintly. I already did. And with that, I stepped into the waiting car. The door shut. The cameras flashed. And the story was over. Not with tears. Not with regret. But with one final cut.